Shalom. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and others, great millstone, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother, I'm Noah Allah, from GMS Chicago, and I'm just going to do a quick response video to this individual that, has posted this folly, alright? And so princeofsalem says, we have to stop eating animals. It is a sin to God. I say out of love, I don't want you to receive the sword of the Lord. There's plant-based substitutions for everything. And this right here is just folly, alright? Nowhere in the scriptures does it tell you, to not eat meat, alright? But of course, according to the scriptures, alright, you got animals that are not meant to be eaten, which are unclean, and you got animals that you could eat, which are clean, alright? And obviously, as for pork, a pig, it's an unclean animal, right? It eats shit, it rolls on the mud all day, alright? It eats its own kind when it's dead. It's basically like a vacuum cleaner for the earth, right? And the Lord also gave us animals that we could eat, alright? The cow, lamb, right? Deer. And those are examples of clean animals that you could eat, right? And especially in the Passover, alright, which every Israelite is supposed to keep, alright? Every Israelite is supposed to keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? The Passover, and you gotta eat the lamb, all right? That's also part of, the solemn assembly that you gotta keep, all right? Is that you gotta eat the lamb. But, this individual is saying, I'm sent from the Lord to tell you, view my pen post on my profile for heavenly commandments. Do not be judged by the Lord. Time is short. You need to repent. But yeah, this right here, this individual doesn't even know what he's talking about, right? Because according to the scriptures, all right, the feast of unleavened bread, the Passover, you are supposed to eat the lamb, all right. This is Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish. A male of the first year ye shall take it out of the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it, and in the evening, and they shall take the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And of course, we're in captivity, all right? We're just rehearsing the righteous acts, all right? And of course, we can't keep all the law, statutes, and commandments to the T, all right? Because we're in the flesh, all right? So we're gonna go off no matter what, and we're not justified by the law, but we are justified through faith in Yahweh Bashem, Yahushai. All right, so of course, the strike the blood on the two side posts of the door. All right, it's something that we can't do here in this society, or because Esau will have a problem with that, and he'll bring police officers and shit. So of course, we're all imperfect. All right, every brother in this truth is imperfect. All right, but we're here, to rehearse the righteous acts to the best of our ability, all right, while we're still in this captivity, while we're still in this flesh, all right. But it says, and they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. And that's right. Um, whatever he said, all right, was wrong. All right. The scriptures also tell you that if they speak not according to this word, all right, there is no light in them. And this individual brought no precepts to prove his own point. All right, because it's nothing but his thoughts. All right. He didn't bring anything scriptural at all. And hey, of course, you need meat in your diet. All right, it's impossible to be a vegan in this truth. All right, but that's why there's a balance. All right, you gotta have your meats. All right, you also gotta have your veggies. All right, it's a balance. But it says, eat not of it raw, nor salt in it at all with water, but roast with fire his head and with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof, and ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth until the morning ye shall burn with fire. And thus shall ye eat, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat in haste. It is the Lord's Passover, and that's what you got to do. All right, you're supposed to be eating in haste. All right, you're supposed to eat the lamb and in haste. All right, that is also part of keeping the ceremony. But it says, for I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and I will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord, and the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. And yeah, this is also why we keep the Passover, because we want the Lord, to pass over us. All right, we want the Lord to have mercy upon us, as we're trying to repent to the best of our ability, and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability while we're in this flesh. All right, while we're in this captivity. All right. And it says, and this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast unto the Lord throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. You see, so you're supposed to, keep the Passover. You're supposed to eat the lamb. All right. And nowhere in the scriptures does it say that you can't eat meat. All right. The only kind of meat that you can't eat is the unclean animals that you're not supposed to be eating either way. All right. You're not supposed to be consuming pig. All right. You can't consume a horse. All right. You can't eat crocodile. You can't eat shark. You can't eat shrimp, lobster, all that shit, because all that shit is unclean. All right, according to the scriptures. It says, 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread, even the first day shall ye put away leaven out of your houses. And of course, we're still in captivity. If you still live with your household and they don't know nothing about this truth, all right. Of course, they might find it strange if you're trying to keep living out the house, but yet again, we're trying to rehearse the righteous acts to the best of our ability. So it is what it is, because we're still in captivity, and not everybody's awake, right? But it says, 7 days shall ye unleavened bread, even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses, for whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul should be cut off from Israel. And yeah, it's a solemn assembly, all right? It's serious, all right? And you do gotta drink the wine. You do gotta, eat the unleavened bread, for the ceremony, all right? It's something mandatory, all right? That all Israelites must keep it. And of course, on the day of the Passover, there's a lot of judgment that goes on, right? A lot of judgment on that day. But yeah, this individual, right, he's going to receive the sword because, he's spreading, he's spreading, damnable heresies. All right? He's just, saying just a lot of bullshit. Right? He's adding onto the word, and you can't add onto the word. You see? Revelations 22:18 says, "For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book." You see? And this is what this individual is exactly doing. All right? He needs to repent. All right? Because teaching the word falsely, all right, wrongly, all right, can get you put to death. All right? The Lord is gonna judge you if you add and take away from the word. All right? If you're teaching this word the wrong way. All right? And teaching this word the wrong way is obviously a dangerous game to play. All right? But nonetheless, that was just it to that lesson. Just want to go over that. But I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, and Shalom.